There's a customer that credit card companies dream about. Not the one who pays off their balance every month, not the deadbeat who defaults and disappears. The perfect customer is someone else entirely. Someone who pays, just not enough. Someone who borrows, but never quite escapes. Someone who looks responsible on paper, but is slowly drowning in interest they'll never fully see coming. And here's the thing that should bother you. This customer isn't some statistical outlier. This customer is probably you, or someone you know, or someone you'll become if the math keeps working the way it's designed to work. Credit card companies have a name for people who pay their full balance every month. They call them deadbeats. The profitable customers, those are called revolvers. And what makes a revolver so valuable isn't what they spend, it's what they owe. Let's talk about Alex. Alex has a credit card with a $15,000 limit. Decent credit score, steady job, pays bills on time. Alex isn't reckless, Alex is responsible. That's exactly why this works. Every month, Alex carries a balance of about $8,000. Not maxed out, not even close, just enough to feel manageable. The minimum payment is $240. Alex pays $300, a little extra. Feels responsible, feels like progress. Here's what Alex doesn't calculate. At 18% APR, that $8,000 balance generates about $120 in interest every month. So when Alex pays $300, only $180 of it touches the actual debt. The rest is just rent. Rent on money Alex already spent. And this goes on, month after month, year after year. Alex isn't falling behind, Alex is treading water. And from the credit card company's perspective, that's perfect. Because Alex will pay this debt, slowly, predictably, obediently. This is the design. The system isn't built for people who pay off their cards, it's built for people who try to. Let's break down why revolvers are the golden goose of consumer finance. A credit card company makes money three ways: transaction fees from merchants, late fees and penalty charges from customers who miss payments, and interest from customers who carry a balance. The first category is steady but small, 2 to 3% per swipe. It's reliable, but it's not where fortunes are made. The second category is lucrative but unstable. People who miss payments eventually default. You can't extract blood from a stone. You can try, but the well runs dry. The third category? That's the sweet spot. Revolvers pay interest every single month. They don't default because they're making payments. They don't pay off the balance because the math is deliberately obscure. They're profitable, sustainable, and predictable. Here's the trick. Minimum payments are calibrated to feel achievable while keeping you in debt for decades. Let's go back to Alex. $8,000 at 18% APR. If Alex only pays the minimum of $240 every month and never uses the card again, it will take just over 4 years to pay off. But Alex will pay nearly $3,000 in interest. That's a 37% markup on money already spent. But Alex doesn't stop using the card. Nobody does. A car repair, a medical bill, a vacation that felt necessary. The balance hovers. Sometimes it dips, sometimes it climbs, but it never hits zero. And the credit card company is fine with that. More than fine. They send Alex offers to increase the limit, pre-approved for $20,000 now. It's framed as a reward, a vote of confidence, but it's bait. More room to borrow means more interest to harvest. The limit isn't there to protect you, it's there to protect them from lending you more than you can slowly, painfully pay back. Here's what makes this so insidious. Alex doesn't feel trapped. The payment is manageable, the credit score is fine. There's no collection agency calling, no eviction notice. Alex is doing everything right according to the cultural script of financial responsibility. But let's run a different calculation. If Alex took that same $300 a month and put it toward the balance without adding new charges, the debt would be gone in 31 months. Total interest paid, about $2,000. But that requires something almost impossible in modern life: not using the card. And the entire infrastructure of consumer spending is designed to make that impossible. Subscriptions auto-renew, emergencies happen, groceries cost more every year, and when your card has available credit sitting there, it feels wasteful not to use it, like leaving money on the table. Except it's not your money, it's a loan, and every swipe resets the clock. Now zoom out. The average American household with credit card debt carries about $7,000 in revolving balances. At the average interest rate of around 20%, that's $117 a month in interest alone. Multiply that across millions of households, and you start to see the scale. Credit card companies in the United States collected over $120 billion in interest and fees in 2023. That's more than the GDP of many countries. That money didn't come from fraud. It didn't come from defaults. It came from people making their payments. People like Alex. The most profitable customer is the one who never misses a payment and never pays it off. There's a reason this works so well. It's not just math, it's psychology. Credit cards divorce the pain of payment from the pleasure of purchase. You swipe, you get the thing, you feel good. The bill comes later. By then, the endorphin hit is gone, and all that's left is a number on a screen. Studies show people spend 12 to 18% more when they use credit cards versus cash. It doesn't feel like real money. It feels like a tool, a buffer, a convenience. And then there's the framing. Minimum payments are psychologically brilliant. They tell you exactly how little you need to pay to stay in good standing. You're not defaulting, you're not irresponsible, you're meeting your obligations. But the minimum payment is a trap disguised as a courtesy. It's like a treadmill that adjusts its speed just fast enough to keep you running, but never fast enough to let you reach the end. You're moving, you're working, but you're not getting anywhere. Credit card companies know this. They've spent billions on behavioral research. They know that if they make the minimum payment feel achievable, people will pay it. And if people pay it, they'll stay in debt longer. There's even a term for this in the industry: payment hierarchy. If Alex has multiple cards, Alex will likely pay the one with the smallest balance first. It feels like progress, but that card probably has the lowest interest rate. The card with the biggest balance and the highest rate, that one gets the minimum. It's the financially irrational choice, but it's the emotionally satisfying one. And credit card companies bet on emotion every time. They're not gambling that you'll be irresponsible. They're gambling that you'll be human. Now let's talk about the other side. You've probably seen the advice. Pay off your credit cards, build an emergency fund, use credit responsibly. All true, all good, all insufficient. Because the advice treats this like a personal failure, a lack of discipline, a knowledge gap. But zoom out and look at the structure. Wages have been stagnant for decades. The cost of housing, healthcare, and education has exploded. Savings rates are near historic lows, and credit card limits have quietly expanded to fill the gap. This isn't a coincidence. When people can't afford their lives with their income, credit becomes the bridge, and once you're on that bridge, the interest starts compounding. The average credit card APR in the United States is over 20%. That's higher than it's been in decades. Meanwhile, savings accounts pay less than 0.5% in most cases. You're penalized for borrowing, and you're barely rewarded for saving. The math is rigged. And here's the irony. The people who need credit the most pay the highest rates. Subprime cards can charge 30% APR or more. The people with the least margin for error are charged the most for mistakes they haven't even made yet. So yes, personal responsibility matters, but personal responsibility inside a predatory system is like swimming against a riptide. You can do everything right and still lose ground. The game isn't fair, but you're still expected to play. Let's zoom out one more time. Credit card debt in the United States recently crossed $1 trillion. That's trillion with a T. That's not just a number, that's a structural feature of the economy. That's millions of people making monthly payments on balances they'll never escape. That's interest compounding on purchases made years ago.
That's a generation of Americans who've been sold the idea that debt is normal and payments are success, and the system depends on it. If everyone paid off their credit cards tomorrow, the financial sector would collapse. Not because people are defaulting, because they're not paying interest. Think about that. The stability of the system requires your debt. Your minimum payment isn't just keeping you afloat, it's keeping them profitable. And they've optimized every part of this: the offers, the limits, the rewards programs that give you 2% cash back while charging you 20% interest, the grace periods that disappear the moment you carry a balance, the fine print that shifts terms whenever it's convenient. This is not an accident. It's not a side effect. This is the product. You're not the customer. You're the inventory. So who is the credit card company's
favorite customer? It's not the person who maxes out and vanishes. It's not the person who pays in full and costs them money. It's the person who pays just enough to keep the lights on, just enough to feel responsible, just enough to keep the balance alive. It's the person who thinks they're managing their debt when really their debt is managing them. It's someone who looks like they're winning, but the math says otherwise. And here's the question you should sit with. If the system profits most when you almost pay it off but never quite do, what does that say about the advice you've been given? What does that say about the tools you've been handed? What does that say about who this system was really built for? The answer is uncomfortable, but it's worth knowing. If this shifted how you see your wallet, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns of systems that don't want to be explained. And drop a comment. What's the financial mechanism you want us to dissect next? See you in the next one.